What's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. I'm Ron, making sure we're live here. I will be honest, I had this scheduled originally for I meant to schedule it for 7. I know that you guys are already getting on me in the comments for starting not at 6:45 sharp or not at 6:30 p.m. sharp, but we are here. We are live. Nope, this is bad audio. Hold on. Hold on. All right, that should be better. Come on. Nope, this is bad. Hold on, this is the issue because I switched over. We're running a we're running a StreamYard right here. Let me see. Why is this not working correctly? I know. Man, I almost. Oh, okay. Come on, tell me that this is better, please. Thank God, man. All right, that could have been real ugly. Could have been ugly. But the whole reason that this was an issue is because and why I was a little bit late here is because we're using StreamYard today. We have a special guest. Shout out Pete Overzet. I know he's on the thumbnail. He's not come. He has to put his kids to bed or kid to bed. Shout out him living the dad life. He's going to be doing that, and then he'll be joining us around. He was saying like 7:45, 8ish. So we have a Best Mania draft coming with him. Until then, we'll probably rip one or two. We'll see how many we can squeeze in here before he gets on. But we are here, of course, to draft underdog teams over Underdog Fantasy. They've been running drafts all off season long. Today, we're going to do just a nice little classic Best Ball Mania draft. Like I said, we might do one or two. We'll kind of see how much time we have between now and. All right, we're all good. Between now and when Pete comes, let me actually, before I forget, let me send him a link to the stream so that he can join it whenever he is ready to go. But how is everybody doing? Pete's the man. That should be fun. Until then, you guys are stuck with me. I'm down to answer any of you guys' questions. Of course, I will say, big disclaimer, okay? Another reason why I was taking forever to get in here, I could not figure out how to get it fixed. These graphics are outdated, right? They say in the, what do we got here? In the bottom right corner, it says use promo code Ron Underdog Fantasy to get your deposit match up to $100. It is now up to $250, and it's matching half of your deposit. So if you deposit $100, you get $50 back. That is outdated. I'm going to have to reach out to a graphic design guy here soon. I will say I put something out on Twitter that I might as well show here as well. I will say I've been getting nothing but bots. I will say as well, I'm not really looking for people that are newer or like not experienced. Like I'm looking for people that are very good with graphic design, very good with video editing, and it wouldn't be anything too crazy. It'd just be on a per project basis that I'm looking for help with. But if you're out there, like a thing like this, like the overlays on StreamYard, I need help with. I'm not a graphics guy. So if you are out there, how can I show my screen here? If you're out there and you are good at graphic design, video editing, you're an artsy person, website, any of that, contact me. You can email me. I have that in the description. You can DM me on Twitter. You can DM me on Discord. Looking for any help. It is paid, but it's like per project. Like I don't have payroll for employees, but any work you do for me will get paid for. So that is where we're at. That is why our graphics aren't the best right now. But let's hop on to Underdog Fantasy. I'll get into what you guys are saying in the chat here in a second. Let me just share my screen. And we will get going here. All right, so that's the pick'em lobby, by the way, if any of you guys want to hop into that. So yeah, we're honestly a mess when it comes to sharing screens on StreamYard here. Hold on. How can I make this look the way I would like it to? Damn. Okay, so this is a bit of an issue. We might honestly just run a like very generic uh geez, man. So this is why I don't run StreamYard much. I'm gonna take out the background is what I decided. Let's get this out of here. Yeah, that's fine for now. That'll do. That'll do. When we get some branding or some graphic design help, we'll figure that out later. But all right, let's hop into one of these, and then I'll get to some questions. Here we are. All right, we're gonna hop into a BBM. There's nothing else that's really crazy out. I will say I wish I left a Pitbull for today, but I've already maxed these mostly in slow drafts. But we're going to hop into a BBM. If anyone wants to hop in as well, here we go. All right. Let's zoom in a little more. All right, and that should look good for now. It's not my favorite way to show this in the world, but here we are. How does the draft room look? Okay. I think that can be it can look worse, man. It could truly be worse than this. But all right. I think that's fine. I think we're fine. I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to make this look when Pete gets in here, but we're going to be fine. But who do we got in here? We got Torsten in here. We got God damn it. Let me put myself on the other side now. My bad. All right. There we go. But who do we got? We got Kennedy Kirsten here on time as always, of course, 6:30 p.m. Eastern sharp. You guys know the vibes. We got Cheda in here. We got Brock. We got Slayton in here. How are the MLB best ball teams doing? Not good. I don't think any of mine have survived. I could be wrong, but I believe that is the case. I would like the font on these comments are so much. Huh. I guess that's just kind of what it has to be. Theme minimal. I don't know. Thankfully, we're having Pete in here because he actually knows what he's doing on StreamYard. But all right, there we go. Whatever, we're fine. But yeah, the mic was an absolute shit show earlier. No RBs till round 7 to 8. Trust me, it works. Alrighty. Everybody. All right, so I'm getting through. Trying to get through everybody saying that the mic was bad. What do we got? We got Michael Hart in here from Jersey. How was the 4th bender? I really didn't do much, dude. The only thing that I did on the 4th was get eaten alive by bugs, man. I was at my buddy's house. We were hanging out for a barbecue, doing some fireworks and shit. Man, I did not wear bug spray. I must have like probably 9 bug bites on my back. Each leg has like 10 each. I just wanted to kind of soak in, what do they call it? Like Benadryl the day after, man. It's been brutal. We're doing all right now, though. What else we got in here? You can draw a stick figure in Microsoft Paint? No, sir. Ricardo, thank you for coming and checking out live. We got Car Chris at that time of year again. Yes, sir. Who's the first dynasty in College Ball 25 going to be, Ron? I hate to say it, but probably Rutgers, man. Probably Rutgers. Are you done with the NFFC? No, we're going to do some high stakes drafts, but probably not till August. Damn, I don't love the light reflecting off the sign behind me. Like I said, still working through the new setup. Everything's a work in progress right now, all right? Everything's a mess. Finishing touches are getting done on, like, the mold is gone, but now the walls that got ripped out and stuff have to get, I don't know the terms for it, but they're putting like sheetrock over it and then it has to get painted. So everything's still a mess, man. The setup is not complete. The basement is tough to schedule actual times to record. It's been a shit show, but we're here for the people. Said Yuck. All right, so you're at pick 9 in this draft. I am curious. If any of you guys are in this draft, let me know. We do go Brees Hall here at 108. Nothing really that crazy in this draft so far. Puka, Garrett Wilson, Gibbs. That's about, yeah, I mean, this is the top 12 in ADP, all going right off the board in a fashion that I would probably agree with. JT goes. Yeah, yeah, man. This is just a very cookie cutter draft right now. No values falling or anything. We got Rowan in here. What's up? We got official DJ Tamaga. What's up? We got Toronto Dave. The Mandem's in here. We got Michael Hart. You're gonna draft me, Brandon Gianniscoli. Oh shit, there you are. Let's go Olave, man. I wasn't taking a lot of Olave early on, but I've kind of cooled off that. Commands targets. He commands them downfield. I'm cautiously optimistic about this Kubiak offense in New Orleans. I don't know. He's not my favorite pick in the world, but he's probably going to be fine. And in round 2, I don't mind taking somebody that is probably going to be fine. You could have talked me into Nico Collins. You could have talked me into Ayuk, Waddle there, whatever. It all doesn't feel good, I'll be honest. No RBs except Achane. I don't hate that call. How many backfields would I cuck in the same draft? You experimented with 3 earlier, grabbing Dallas, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. It felt pretty good. I got to be honest, man, probably not more than 1. I'm open to the idea of it being viable. What he means by handcuffing, by the way, is handcuffing your running back in best ball, which I think can work because some backfield are just going to have a lot of points and you can just benefit from that. And I have to imagine if you went back in time and looked at, if you had Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara in that Saints year, trying to think of like other, like Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman had a couple there, D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart. I mean, if you fall into something like that, it could work. I'm trying to think even just like last year of situations where the baton was like very clearly passed, where like the starter was great and then the backup was also great. I guess Chubb and Ford. Is there like an obvious one that I'm missing? I don't know. I think it's decently viable. I would only do one though, where maybe you go like Warren or Najee. I've been in the past pretty opposed to the idea of handcuffing in fantasy football, but in best ball, I think it matters. I think it's viable in that you don't need one to suck for the other to do good, right? Where in like a redraft managed league, having to decide between Warren and Najee every week is just going to be such a headache. But in best ball, getting the better of the two, I don't mind it. And there is some weight that guys like Justin Herzig, who are serial winners in best ball, have given it the stamp of approval. So I'm open to it. It's not something I do very often, though. I do maybe like 1 in every like 50 drafts. Like I don't do it really at all. It's almost more a mistake. What else do we got in here? If only it was a college basketball. Oh, that'd be fun, man. You're turning Indiana into the next dynasty? Hell yeah, man. That's the play. Indiana, I think Nebraska is another good one. If we're doing any research, do you have any ideas of who could be on the legendary wide receiver season this year? Dude, it's so tough. It's so tough to talk through upside widers or just upside in general this year. The top guys feel so set in stone. Like I don't know outside of the first round, because I mean we're usually trying to look for them later, right? I mean, like me saying Justin Jefferson's a legendary wide receiver does nothing. But it's really tough. Let's see. Nothing has fallen. Diggs is our highest ranked and highest ADP. Sets us up for some Ravens stuff later and some Houston stuff. I'll go Diggs. I'm coming around on Diggs, but I'm not crazy about it at all. There's like a decent chance he's just washed at this point. I'm open to the idea that he's not. I'm open to it. I'm open to the idea that he can kind of work off of other receivers in this Houston offense. But Tank Dell and Nico Collins are both real guys. You'd commit war crimes for a college basketball video game? Yeah, that would be sick. Especially with the amount of detail they're putting into this football one. But the market's just not there, man. Sadly. Best quarterback wide receiver stack in 2024. Huh. I do like Mahomes, Rashee Rice a lot, man. Plaster, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we got Flett in here. We got Clean Dirt in the 104. All right, so the 104 is in here. I think the 109 is in here. We got Davo 305, Hemp Slinger, welcome back. Caleb Schletter, that's a name I recognize. GM, yes sir, yes sir. Yo, Ron, love the content. Gonna need you to explain Justin Jefferson over Chase in the rankings. Well, talked about this on Twitter, man. I think you guys are gonna cook me. But the more I look into this Joe Burrow wrist injury, the more it scares the hell out of me. And I kind of just want to cool off on all Bengals. First of all, Justin Jefferson, Hayden Winks had a tweet today that in the I think it was 4 games or 5 games without Kirk Cousins that he played, he was still on a 2,000-yard pace. Jefferson is just really good and has already produced more than Jamar Chase. Even if you want to take away his 4th year, right, where if you just put 3 years versus 3 years, Jefferson's resume is better. He's been just as good. I get the quarterback situation isn't as pretty, but Kevin O'Connell is a really good coordinator and Jefferson's a really good player. But this Joe Burrow thing, man, he has this wrist injury that no other quarterback has ever had, which you guys know I'm a big numbers guy. I want a sample size of something when we're trying to look through injury possibilities, and there's none. And if you have a wrist injury on your throwing hand, that's a pretty big deal. And we're getting zero discount at all for any of that. Man, we have these wide receivers pushed up right now. Etienne, Lamar, Andrews. I'm going Etienne. It was a bit of a last second pick there, but oh my god, dude, I've been sneezing like crazy. I almost sneezed so much I didn't even really get to think through that pick. But I took Etienne there. He was my highest ranked player. I don't like the Pickens Amari group of round 4 receivers. You could have talked me into Andrews or Lamar there. I didn't have a Lamar stack, and I felt if I went Andrews, it was a slight reach. I wasn't getting Lamar to come back around. I was debating going Andrews and then hoping for like Stroud at that pick 65 so we could get Stroud to Diggs and then some week 17 correlation with Andrews, but decided to pass on that for Etienne. This is my best player in a vacuum. But the Joe Burrow thing. So he's a wrist injury that no one has ever seen before. And there's some Twitter doctors saying that he's going to be fine. There's some that aren't that keen on him. I know Jesse Morris, Dr. Jesse Morris, isn't super optimistic. And it's just one of these things where, like, what if it's just an issue again? Like we kind of did it last year, where even myself, he had the calf injury heading into the year, and we all just kind of brushed it off. And we do this a lot, where like a player comes into the year with an injury and just kind of brush it off, right? I did it as well with the Kyle Pitts thing. He came in with the MCL, and we got no discount, and we said he's going to be fine. I don't know. Burrow is the bridge or the foundation that holds up Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and those are 2 players I was drafting a ton of. And this is all a spiel to say that I moved Jamar Chase from my 104 to my 105. So I'm not saying the sky is falling. I'm simply saying I was at a spot where I was overdrafting Chase. I was overdrafting T. Higgins a lot. And I want to get that back into the check where I'm just on market. I don't want to be overexposed to those guys. Just given what we know about Joe Burrow's wrist, he couldn't even throw it on the sideline before the surgery. He gets the surgery. Hayden Winks tweeted out the other day, but there's like a video of like a hand orthopede, whatever you want to call it, ortho and Cincy talking through it. And it's a rigorous rehab, man. He said 9 to 12 months of rehab. Even then, there's soreness. So I just don't know. There's going to be a slow start. There's going to be hiccups. I don't know. I have a little bit of pause. Now, that's again not to say that I'm not drafting them. I'm drafting all of them. I'm drafting T. I'm drafting Chase. I'm drafting Burrow. But I previously in my rankings had them all pushed up as huge values. I now have them back down to earth as like just fine picks, which is where I'm at right now. Man, nothing on the board is good. Man, we're going to go with an unstacked Richardson. I know that this team is set up to take Stroud, but I just don't care. I just don't care. There's nothing else. I'm not none of these guys I want in the 5th round. I kind of already hate this team. It will be fine. So that's what I'm saying. Again, the sky's not falling. I'm just saying I went from a spot where I was drafting like 15% T. Higgins, which is like double the amount of average, to now chilling out a little bit. What else we got? Yeah, in terms of the cuffing 2 running backs thing, I agree. It only works if you do 2 late. I think Mostert, Jalen Wright's kind of viable if you want to leverage HN drafters. Do you have updated draft strategy videos? I'm going to do that soon. And I do like that take. I did want to investigate the RB dead zone here soon. Strategy videos should be happening in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. Waddle being a legendary receiver without Tyreek going down is going to be tough. What else we got in here? 700 underdog drafts. Only have about 100 on DK. But I just got my second number 1 pick on DK. Started CMC, London, Collins, about to put in a ton more. What do we got? Got me on the big TV. Yo, chill. Yeah, we got this. I don't know what this Blue Clues account is, but he's been popping in. What's up? You've seen similar sentiment about the wrist. All right, so I'm curious. I'm curious what you guys are all saying. Everyone's saying bless you. I do appreciate that. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm a little bit behind here. Amari every time. I have a tough time with Amari, man. His doesn't feel like a slam dunk. I do get it, though. You take him in the 4th, and he's probably going to be fine. He did have those massive spike weeks last year. And you have the upside of Deshaun going back to his previous form. Not drafting a lot of them, though, I will be honest. Let's see. I'd probably prefer this to be a wide receiver. We're going to take Rome Odunze here. He's my most drafted wide receiver, or most drafted player in general so far. I just can't quit him. I can't. In a world where you're making people pay 6th round for Xavier Worthy and making people pay 201 for Marvin Harrison Jr., if I can get a player a lot of wide receiver experts had in the same tier as Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. can get him 4 rounds later or 3 rounds later, I do it every single time. Hasn't Burrow been fine since May? I mean, sure, but we're talking about like OTAs and I don't know. I want pads on. I want it to be August. Once camp starts and we get 3-4 weeks, I don't know, like 3 or so weeks in, like I'm completely fine to change course. I'm going to be fine to change course, but it's where we're at. O-line, and since he's better, that's fine. I don't know. He's also a guy who's known to not have a very strong arm. If you zap any of that velocity on him, it's just going to be tough, man. He's going to be out there with a pea shooter. I don't know. I just have concerns about the efficiency. I have concerns about the volume and them wanting to lean on him. I know that the run game is not bad, so I mean they're going to lean on him. I don't know. I just have concerns about starting slow. I have concerns about re-injury. And again, it's all to say I still have all of the Bengals ranked like right on market. They were just a spot that I was pushing up because I like the Bengals, but I now just have them where I'm fine with them, if that makes sense. Why is Keenan Allen so low? Old receivers rarely pay off, especially on new teams. And I don't know. People love to flame me about it with my Odunze love, but I really do think Keenan Allen could be a guy that plays just on the inside as a slot only guy. Which again, it's a 3 wide receiver set league, so we're talking an 80% route share. But I could see by the end of the season, Keenan Allen being the one who's behind Odunze and DJ Moore. I could. I know I'm going to get burned at the stake for that, but that's where I'm at. How do I feel about Kupp? You've been drafting a lot of them. Kupp's been so tough for me, man. He has been so tough. I don't know. I mix him in when I can, but I do have some concerns about what are we now, like 2 years of up and down Kupp play. He's getting older. Puka's now there. I'm fine with him, but I'm not crazy about him. I liked him a lot more when you could get him in like the 4th. Yeah, taking him over. I mean, this is where I'm fine drafting him. I guess Kupp in the early 3rd is fine, but I'm not crazy about it. I don't know. I definitely got to do some more research there because I do want to look into the per game numbers of Kupp from last year. It wasn't great, but it was also probably altered by injuries. I don't know if he has a reception perception out. I do want to soon. I'm probably going to start bumping out some rankings videos just so I start looking into, like, I haven't done any research on Cup this year yet. And those rankings videos are good ways to kind of force yourself to do that. How do you get a badge on UD? You either have to draft a ton or win a ton. That's kind of the best way I can put it. Who are you drafting the most out of the Packers receivers? Wicks, then Watson, then Reed, then Dobbs. You'd be lying if you said you've never taken him. What do you mean? You've never taken who? Huh. So we can take whatever running back we want here, pretty much. I'm going to take Warren. Gave Brooks a long, hard look, but rather just bet on the talent of Warren, see where that goes. I don't think we had any like correlation to set up there either. No. I also took Keon Coleman. I wasn't very vocal about that pick, but he's been sliding, and if I can get Keon Coleman in the 80s, I'm fine with that. I wasn't crazy about his like late 6 price tag he had for a second there, but in the 7th, I'm fine with Coleman. Mari was like wide receiver 18 in usage, and people forget he played games with PJ Walker and DTR. That's fair. That's fair. Mari's never given us a reason not to love him. I mean, he's never finished as a top 12 wide receiver. I guess in the 4th round, when we're drafting wide receiver 30s in the 4th round, I guess Amari's fine. Any worries about Diggs? Yeah, there's worries about Diggs, but in the 3rd round, late 3rd, it's tough to pass on him when he's been a consensus first for like the last 4 years. Like Keenan is old, but he hasn't slowed down and had one of his best years of his career. He's missed like I think 23 of a possible. He's only played 23. What was the stat I had the other day? I think he played 23 of a possible 34 games last 2 years. Like, I get that on the field he's been fine, but he's someone that breaks down. If he tweaks a hamstring or he does whatever, which is what he's done the last 2 years. I know it's like, oh, you can't really predict injuries. With Keenan Allen, he's gotten banged up almost. Usually he gets banged up. And Odunze could just pass him on the depth chart and dust him in like from week 10 on is all I'm saying. I think Keenan Allen can be fine, but he's a tough button click for me. Want to recap? We are at the 8 spot. We go Brees Hall, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, Etienne, Anthony Richardson, Roma Dunze, Keon Coleman, and Jalen Warren. I guess the only thing I would say so old receiver rarely ever works out. I think that you're kind of just joking anyways, but then you draft Diggs in round 3. For me, it's that Diggs was the best value on the board there. We're getting him a little bit past ADP. And then also just the environment of having CJ Stroud versus having Caleb Williams. I do get it, though. When we would have had to take Keenan Allen, though, round 5 would have had to been Keenan, yeah. I would take round 3, the guy who's been a first-round pick the last 4 years, and get Stroud over Allen. Especially Allen's slot usage and lack of, like, verticality really scares me that he's just going to be put inside and only play 3 wide receiver sets. And I know that that's contrarian, but that's just how I see it working out in my head. And I don't mean that in week 1. I mean that end of the year. And we're drafting for end of year results here. That's where, the big money's made or whatever. Give me Njoku here. I'm fine with Njoku. That's fine. I'm not crazy about this team so far. We're actually lacking pretty hard at wide receiver. This will probably be like a 2.592 or like a 2.583. Might even cut it off at 4 running backs. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But we need to make sure we get enough receivers because receiver is certainly lacking right now. No, Jawar Jordan is not on my board. He is not. I did see that earlier. Wicks runs a 4.62. I think Jerry Rice probably ran something around there. I'm just joking, but 40 time for receivers doesn't matter a whole ton. I don't know if you said that as a positive or negative, but you have a lot of Brooks. You wait to tell him to go where he goes. I will bet on his bounce back from the ACL. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. How do I attack the tight end position? Any data? I've been liking a lot of the elite ones. Honestly, any of the guys in the top 10, like the top 10 rounds, are kind of fine to me. I used to be like team late round tight end, but especially these elite tight ends, the fact that the tight end one, this has to be the latest an elite tight end has ever gone. Like the latest the tight end one has ever gotten drafted, where Kelsey last year was a top 5 pick, I believe, and Andrew's like a 2-3 turn guy. And now we're getting access to all, I guess you can put 5 in the tight end 1 conversation or 4 guys in the tight end 1 conversation. You can get them all in the 4th round. So I love doing that every time. I like Kittle and Pitts. I like Bowers and Joku, Ingram. Like, there's a lot of good tight ends to pick from. And I was looking through data the other day when I was talking about Jake Ferguson to kind of see, like, have middle round tight ends been all right? And they honestly have been. Like, in years past, you would have thought, oh, well, the middle round tight ends, they always suck. On Underdog, they've been all right. Like, these, like, round 8-ish tight ends. Man, nothing good is on the board here. We're going to do a slight reach on Dontavion Wicks. We need wide receivers. He's my highest ranked one. Damn, we got sniped on AD Mitchell. That's brutal. But that's all right. Where have the tank tops gone? I don't wear tank tops a ton. I was debating wearing one because we're going to have Pete on later. But this is what we got for right now. Am I in on the Brown? I don't even know how to say. Is it Andre? Is it an L or an I? Is it Andre Iosivas? Yeah, the one, oh my dude, if he gets his draft scrapped, I will be pissed. I will be pissed if he gets this draft scrapped. I've seen I'm too high for this before. I'm too high for this has been a guy in the chat. I'm too high for this. Reveal yourself. You must be too high for this. What is going on here? We have Lamar, Stroud, Burrow, and Dak, man. That's it for you, dude. Do not take another one. If you get this draft scrapped, I will be pissed. Emphasis on the pissed, man. Please. I beg, man. What's your highest UD finish? Spoken like a guy who's never seen my championship ring before. But it was a $1,000 win, or maybe a $2,000 win on it was the Gabe Davis versus the Chiefs game. Boom. That was back when Underdog used to hand out rings. God, I wish that they brought this back, man. Imagine you get one of these for winning. Boom. Look at that thing. And then I've made it to the finals in a baseball contest, which is funny. But yeah, that's the hardware, man. In case if you were curious. Oh, it's your connection. Okay, I get it. My bad. I was flaming you there. I get it. I knew that you were somebody in the chat. My bad. I think at least here's my thing. You're saying, oh, he's played at least 10 games. At least 10 is like a very low bar to clear, man. That's kind of the issue that I have. All right, this has to be Downs. Get the stack for A-Rich there. It's like 10 games in each season is like a really low bar to clear. He's kind of fades down the stretch sometimes. Yeah, just hit the autopilot and close the app. Shout Yoshivas. Okay, I've seen his nickname be Yoshi. The Pound, is this draft getting scrapped, man? Is it getting scrapped? Come on, man. Tell me that this is going to be all right, dude. Because if it gets scrapped, I'll be pissed. Yeah, I actually like Chase Brown. I'm a well-known best ball streamer. Yeah. No, Brock, you are wrong, sir. I'm sorry, Brock, but you're wrong. In best ball, where AD Mitchell has the better ADOT, so he can give you better spike weeks, the bigger target that can get involved in the red zone, and a boundary receiver that's going to be out there in 2 wide receiver sets on a run-heavy team. Give me AD Mitchell over Josh Downs every single time. And I like both at cost. But that's just me pushing back to push back because I know Brock's a good sport. Do we know who's going to be the RB1 in Cincy yet? I would assume week 1 it'll be Zach Moss. I would assume by week 7, 8 it'll be Chase Brown. That's just my that's my gut feeling. That's my gut feeling. Who do you think will be in 2 wide receiver sets? And I'm not saying week 1 2 wide receiver sets. I'm saying by the end of the season he'll be out there in 2 wide receiver sets. You said, man, I would be shocked if Downs plays in 2 wide receiver sets, man. I don't know that they'll put him on the boundary. We'll see, but I think that's where AD Mitchell goes. Should be fine. They're on ADP. Yeah, they're about on ADP. Man. All right, we're going to take Xavier Legette here. He's my highest ranked wide receiver, highest ADP wide receiver. That's where I'm at. Are you saying Chase Brown had the same hype last year and handed out 17 weeks worth of Gatorade? I think he had a couple decent weeks, and then he also I can remember him being like a highly drafted guy. So Pittman and Downs with Downs as a flanker. I don't know. We'll see. My favorite late running back targets. I've been loving Elijah Mitchell. I've been loving Antonio Gibson. I think Jalen Wright's my most drafted running back right now. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, of course. Eckler this late seems crazy, but he looked awful last year. Yeah, he looked awful. Brian Robinson probably is going to take the bulk of the workload. So basketball's a ceiling game, brother. Yeah, I just think he has a higher ceiling and he has a higher weekly ceiling as well, just with the ADOT. I think he could be, dude. I think AD Mitchell could be a real guy, man. Nick Chubb this late also seems crazy, man. Dude, Nick Chubb's knee injury was fucking brutal, man. He got his, bad, man. Let's see. Give me Jaleel McLaughlin. I debated Tyler Algier there, and I probably prefer Tyler Algier. But he had he had that week 12 bye week with Brees and ETN. I don't know. I'm not crazy about Jaleel McLaughlin there. I just didn't really see any other clear picks. Like I wasn't really trying to take Quentin Johnston or Thielen or really any of these other wide receivers. Could have talked me into reaching like 10 or so picks on Deshaun. I don't know. We'll see what comes back to us. I don't mind Jaleel McLaughlin. I do wonder what his ceiling is in terms of taking a workload, but I do also think that he could just be hyper efficient. Kind of like what we've seen with like Achan and Gibbs. I know he's not the same talent, but I mean, someone that can take 12 to 15 touches, have a lot of efficiency, and give you good weeks at around 13 price. Amran, what's good? What's up, Joe? Do we think Sharp could be the starter / high value touch guy? I don't see why not. Man, I don't know about the starter, man. Kenneth Walker's a really good running back IRL. I don't know that he would ever be the main guy. Could he be the high value touch guy? I don't hate that idea. That was my feeling last year, and it didn't matter because of the offense, but I could be talked back into the Charbonnet love because I do think that is still very real. That Charbonnet could get the goal line and the catches. Wasn't Eckler complaining in an interview that the Chargers gave him too many touches? Yeah, that is true. See, one pick away. Man, I can't be talked into TJ Hawkinson. Quentin Johnston, this far, like 11 picks past ADP, you could talk me into. But I'm just going to go Deshaun. We have the David Njoku stack. I don't really feel like we're missing out on a lot when it comes to receivers here. We'll go Deshaun. I don't know. You could have talked me into Quentin Johnston, and then maybe that sets up like a Drake May week 17 correlation, but I don't know. I figured okay, so Drake May actually just goes anyways, but I figured we locked that up. And we kind of figure the rest out as we go. Brendan Rice versus DJ Chark. Probably Chark for me, but I take some of them as well. Or I mix both of them in. I meant. Yeah, exactly. I'm drafting both. Said Char was 50-50 snaps by the end of the season. We'll see with the new regime. I gotta probably look into that. It is still early. Like I said, I think we're gonna have to. I don't know. I don't like doing the rankings videos because they don't really do that well on this channel. My theory is I love you guys. I think a lot of people that watch my videos are kind of above rankings videos, like a lot of you guys that are watching my stuff aren't coming just to kind of see me rattle off the top 24 wide receivers or whatever. But it is, like I just said, it's a good exercise just to kind of look into every single situation. Because I haven't revisited the Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker splits from last year down the stretch. So yeah, we'll probably get into that this week. I don't know if we'll get into all the positions, but definitely over these next 2 weeks, I want to get into them. Do you think I should have jumped at Pitts in round 6 since I took Bijan at the 108? Do you think I jumped at Pitts in round 6? Do you mean like you should have drafted him? I don't think so. Yeah, I guess we'll take another swing on Rashad Bateman. That's fine by me. I don't think that I was missing out on any correlation there. Yeah, I mean Cleveland, Indy, yeah. We're fine there. I think the goal might be 2593, 2493. I mean, can we stomach? I think it has to be 5 running backs. I think we've made the bet on Njoku, and we just have to go 2592 here, and we just have to accept that Njoku has to be that guy. Maybe we go Jelani Woods. Brock, do we like Jelani Woods, man? I can't decide. I really can't. Could always go with Jonnu Smith on the other side of that Cleveland game if he's still hanging around here. Is Jonnu Smith getting steamed up? He is, huh? Gianna Scola already took him. Gianna Scola took him fucking 15 picks past his ADP. All right. Never mind on that. And then we have Indy Giants. I'm not taking any Giants. Yeah, man, I don't know. Man, I think you're sleeping on the Seattle offense, man. I think that Seattle could be kind of like they were in 2022, where they were just all values. I think Geno's a lot better than he gets credit for, and then Ryan Grubbs is great. Yeah, give me Troy Franklin way past ADP. All right, so that's probably our last wide receiver there, which I'm fine with. I mean, we already have Cleveland stack. We already have an Indianapolis stack. I think I would like a Giants running back. Man, we didn't get any Miami on this team. Probably a Giants running back. Damn, I wish I could have gotten Jonnu. Yeah, so we're not going to get that Miami Cleveland stack going. Odell. Yeah. All right, that's fine. We'll debate Jelani Woods with the 18th round pick. We'll debate it. And Tyrone Tracy goes. All right. All righty. So kind of never mind on all of that. Could certainly go Eric Gray with our last pick. Could go with tight end before that. All right. I'm just thinking through some things. Jelani Woods is your most drafted tight end? Good Lord. We got Beachhead in here. What's up? Is that a man's coin on the profile picture? Man, I'm trying to think. I don't know what I want to do. I don't think we need 3 quarterbacks. What do we got? All right, let's take Jelani Woods. Why not? We have Richardson. We'll take Jelani Woods. We don't need him to be the guy. We already have Njoku. We just need a couple of touchdown spike weeks. That's really all we need. Fellas, is Eric Gray worth an 18th round pick? I might just take somebody else. I don't really want the headache that like he could be cut or he could just be a complete zero. I think I'd probably prefer something a little more real, I guess is what I would say. I will say though, I don't think Pete's going to be here until 8. This draft is going to wrap up at 7:45. Trying to think of what I'm going to do to kill those 15 minutes. I think I have some slow draft picks that we can make. We have some slow draft picks we can make. What else can we do? Maybe we'll mess around and draft a WNBA team. Maybe we'll draft a WNBA team. Get a little weird. I don't know. We'll figure something out. I will say I ran out of Red Bull today, and it is an absolute travesty. It's an absolute travesty. Jawar Jordan, geez, man. What do you guys think? Is Eric Gray draftable? Let me see. Let me see what Mike Clay has the projections for. Let's see, Mike Clay. Oh, we are on the clock. All right, so we got to figure this out fast. Let me just see. Does he actually have Eric Gray projected for anything? All right, he hasn't projected for about 50 carries. I'll take him. Why not? Man. Fuck it. I can't say no to Khalil Herbert in the 18th. I can't. I know I just made a big stink about Khalil Herbert or about Eric Gray, but if you're gonna give me Khalil Herbert in the 18th round, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I can't. I can't turn that down. Should everyone the Devy League I run? Come on, Brock. Come on. Nobody wants to see your dead Chris Marshall or whoever the hell you got. Just joined live. Are you doing another NFL draft later? We are. We have a guest for the second one. I'm putting Pete in a bad spot. I should have timed this up better. Like I said, I was planning to come on here at 7, but I came on here about 15 or about like 10 minutes early. We do have some slow drafts. We have some slow draft stuff to do. Let's see. Hump Day Hoops. Oh, so that's got to be Wednesday. Sprint. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything on NFL side I can do that's like the new 10-second clock. I was going to say, if you could do a 15-second clock on the big dog, that's pretty crazy. All right, so we got some slow drafts that we'll catch up with for a second here. Go for that WNBA sweet EV, dude. I got nothing. Dallin Hooker will outscore Jelani Woods. Come on, man. What a nice guy, Lance. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't. Yes, if you haven't, like and subscribe. You're the man. On StreamYard doesn't show me how many likes are on the stream, so just leave a like on the stream. So I got no clue where we're at right now. What else? Little midday dog draft. Not quite midday, but we're out here. What else? Damn, Ron, why you got to do me like that? My dead player, yeah, Cade Klubnik. I mean, I got one too, man. I got who was it? I had Kyle McCord, man. God damn it, dude. Make that sure yourself. No, sir. Underdog sent it out to me. They are the best. Let's see. Cole Herbert hopefully get traded to a running back needed team. I would like that. It seems unlikely. Do an MLB draft. All right, let's do these slow drafts first, and then we'll see where we're at. All right. So we've entered a ton. We've entered, or not a ton. These aren't a ton. I entered a bunch of pit bulls. I entered like 5 BBM 5s. I'm just trying to pace BBM 5s. I know that the EV is not as great in slow drafts, but I also don't mind the different look that a slow draft gives you. You know, so let's see. We'll hop into these right now. This team has. Let's move this like here. That'll work. All right, so this team has Gibbs and Garrett Wilson already. We have my ranks here. We have like a falling Zay Flowers. So this is going to be Flowers for sure. We have Garrett Wilson. We could go with the other side of that Week 17 stack and go with an unstacked Allen. You could talk me into T. Higgins, but I'm not crazy about it. Like 401 is pretty dirty for a receiver that's not named like Flowers or DJ Moore or Dell. I think a onesie is probably the answer here. It just comes down to if it's Allen or if it's like Laporta or something. We do have Gibbs, so we could get some of that Detroit. But I think I'm going to go Allen. I just think Allen's the better pick than Laporta. I think he's going to score. Like, I think he's just a better bet to be the number one at his position. I think he has better access to like wins above replacement where he just absolutely gapped the field. Single game upside that no one else can match. Like in a given week, David Njoku can score as much as Sam Laporta. So yeah, we're gonna go Allen. I think that is he my highest ranked player? No, I actually have Laporta ahead. I might have to tweak that. Yeah, we'll go Allen. He's on the other side of that Week 17 game versus Garrett Wilson. Let's see. Pretty good spot for Amari? Nah. Let's see. All right, so here's the next one. This is a BBM5 that we've started. We have AJ Brown already. You have the Philly-Dallas game, but that doesn't really do anything for me. I don't know. I've been taking JT a lot in this spot. I know that some people are I know some people don't love JT, right? They just don't love taking a running back in general, but it just feels so gross at the 203 taking like Olave or Ayuk or Nico. I at least know that JT's a good player. We actually have a video, I think that it'll come out tomorrow on some bounce back players. I dove into Jonathan Taylor, and I really am a fan of him for 2024. I know A-Rich is there. I know Richardson is going to take some goal line looks. I know that Richardson is going to take some targets away because he's going to scramble instead. But it's going to be a really good offense. They're going to score a lot of touchdowns. They're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to they have a high neutral pace under Shane Steichen, which is also really exciting. And the idea that Richardson's going to take goal line touches away is a little bit overblown in that Steichen's last year in Philly, Miles Sanders had 11 rushing touchdowns and Jalen Hurts had a ton too. Like they were both top 5 in carries inside of the 10-yard line. So the percentage stats are going to be bad, but like the split's going to be bad, but there's going to be so many goal line opportunities. They run inside of the red zone a ton with Steichen, or just Steichen does that in general. So I don't think it's that crazy to be like, I think Jonathan Taylor will be just fine. But I think JT has legendary upside. I don't know. I've struggled with the whole legendary upside thing because we haven't seen it outside of McCaffrey since I started talking about legendary upside and since Karain first started bringing up legendary upside. So that's why it's tough for me because I don't know. I don't know what I would even categorize it as anymore. But if legendary upside means 20 plus point per game upside, I would say that JT has that. He's already shown that he's done it in the past with just 40 catches. So I don't know. I like Jonathan Taylor. I think he's a defensible second round pick. All right, hold on. We got Pete Overzet in here. I do have to figure out how to even. I'm not the best with StreamYard. I've been saying that this entire time. But we have Pete Overzet in here. The man, Pete Overzet on YouTube. He has the Deposit Kingdom YouTube channel. How are you doing, Pete? I know you've had a busy day so far.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be my first draft of the day, so feeling a little rusty. No, yeah, Best Ball Breakfast Mondays. Yeah, last year I split them up where I would do 2 drafts on like Monday, 2 drafts on Wednesday. I'm like, just screw it. Let's just do them all at once. But people always ask me if I'm exhausted after them, but I find the drafts like fairly energizing. I will crash later tonight, but for now I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, I don't know, man. 4 in a row is a lot. You stand when you do them too, right?
Yeah, I am sitting down right now. Yeah, it's like Monday's like my hardo day. I work out in the morning and then I do my standing desk for the 4-hour drafts and then I feel like I need to sit down after. Yes.
All right, that's intense. If I'm just being completely honest with you, I've always been sitting down when I record these, but I've had a couple of friends kind of try to put me onto the standing desk life, and that I don't know. I guess it's better for just to be standing. You don't really get that midday crash. Do you? Not to get too into the nitty gritty, but do you like when you write your newsletter and stuff? Are you standing?
I mix it up. The standing desk for me originally, I got one even when I was back in my corporate days because I would have back pains. Like I would come home and I'd literally have to like lay on the couch for like 45 minutes. And this was when I was like 26. Like it was bad. And so I was trying to figure out like remedies. And when I switched to a standing desk, the back pain went away like completely. And so I'd say if I'm at my desk, say for a typical 8-hour day, I'm probably doing standing desk for like half of it. So when I do like the drafts today, I obviously was up for 4 hours. I would say that's normally what I'm doing, like 4 hours at my desk, maybe 4 hours sitting.
I like that. I might have to mix it in. We'll see. Probably not. But I think in the future, I'll get humbled into maybe some back issues or like productivity stuff. But today I brought on Pete. I know that you've done what? You've done like 65 as of today in terms of BBMs.
Well, I know for a fact that the draft with Sean Siegel was 69. So then 70, 71. So I'm 71 deep.
71. I'm actually curious your thoughts on this because I've been feeling bad about it. I am only at 25, exactly 25 as of right now.
Why would you
What do
feel
you
bad
think?
about that?
I don't know. I feel like I'm pacing poorly. If you weren't streaming them, how do you? What do you think you would be at right now if you were a best ball bro?
I think pretty similar.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe a little behind. Maybe I would be at like 50 or 55. I think if I didn't do any content, I would be like, I would have spent more time, like, when the puppies and those other ones came out, I would have put more entries into those,
Yeah.
and just devoted my attention there and tried to have done like, I don't know, 65, 70% of my drafts in like late July and on. But I don't know. I want to max BBM. And I just know that come mid-August, like going to be busy as shit. I'm not going to just have like all these other chunks of time to like rip off like 4 Best Ball Mania drafts. So that contest I just treat as like a marathon, not the contest, but a marathon throughout the summer. And then I'm going to try to ramp up my volume in the high stakes and like mid stakes stuff in August.
Yeah, I like that call. I've been like I have all the pit bulls going in the background on slows. I've been doing most of the I don't know. I've been trying to do the puppies. I'm not like Karain where I'm doing like 100+ slow drafts is just like I don't know, man. It gets to be a lot. I know that you've kind of vouched the mental health stuff or just just keeping a schedule and doing the fitness grind, just mind, body, spirit, whatever. But like wait when it's your job to talk about football and then like you go to sleep and the last thing you check is like your football app and then you wake up and you're checking your app and it's just it just becomes it's not fun. It's kind of the best that I can explain it. But I'm gonna hop into a BBM here. We'll get the Pete Overzet experience. This is going to be, by the way, not I don't know. I would say most likely not a wide receiver avalanche draft, and that you get into some insane environments, and then I come on drafting like it's a normal lobby, and I usually come out looking like a fool when I'm drafting on your channel because I just think, oh, I'll get the wide receiver value at the round 4 or 5 turn, and then all of a sudden you are taking like Tyler Lockett at like the 408, and it's just not a great time.
I like how I guess I don't know. I see some familiar faces in the chat tonight. I see some familiar names in this draft. We might still have to watch out, although not near as many badges as when I'm drafting.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Look, there's not too many badges. We have I recognize Notorious Fantasy. He does some YouTube stuff, but outside of that, I got nothing. I don't recognize any of these names.
Yeah. Did I notice? I recognize Raise It. I think a cardio club guy there. So yeah. And what do we got? We got the one. Where are you? 110?
We got the 111. The 111. It's not very fun. This is like the spot that I've actually been pretty decent at avoiding. I don't know. I am curious. I know that you've done the draft caddy. Do you have, or I know Fantasy Life had it as well, like in terms of just like looking at your exposures and stuff. But have you looked at like how your distribution of like the 1 through 12 or whatever?
Yeah. I have a few interesting anomalies. I actually had this pulled up because I'm going to make a video, I think, this week on, my favorite picks in each round and was using my exposures to kind of dictate it. And I've only had the 8th pick 3% of the time and the 9th pick 6% of the time. So I'm like massively underweight AJ Brown because that's like right where he went. And then conversely, I've had the like 105 or 106 a ton, which means I've ended up with a ton of Justin Jefferson. And then I finally started to get my CD Lamb up, but I had a bunch of 101s and no 102. So like, that's kind of what sucks about the RNG with round 1 is like, I want exposure to all of these guys. And just the randomness of your slots can put you in a weird way underweight to some of these superstars.
Yeah, I know the last time we talked, you were saying that with Lamb, where like you had a lot of 101s, but not 102s. Now you've been debating pulling the trigger on CD Lamb at 101, especially in your draft rooms. And it's something that I kind of want to do more as well. Like if you get the 101 on a best ball breakfast, are you taking Lamb or McCaffrey these days?
Well, I did. I drew the 101. I think myself, I would have taken Lamb, especially in my streamed rooms. But Spags and I drew the 101 and we did a CMC. I actually did 2 CMC teams because Sean and I got CMC at 104 today in my room.
Really?
So I would like to balance it out, but I also don't want to overthink CMC because the same thing happened last year where, people were passing on him, myself included, and then he's just the uber smash of all smashes. So I want to take CMC as much as I can.
Yeah, I do agree there. We're gonna be on the clock. I am curious. Do you have like any kind of lean here? Do you have any player takes when you get to
Do
this
I?
spot?
Yeah. Not. You know what? I think Puka's a smash here. Normally, I'm looking at your, Garrett Wilson, who I like a lot. But to me, I prefer Puka. I think to both AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson. Look, you asked me for a player take, and I said I think. But I love Puka at 111.
Yeah, I don't mind it either. I will say I've been drafting a lot of AJ Brown as well. I tweeted out the other day, he's never been outside the top 10 in yards per out run. Like he is just kind of a monster. And I am also buying into the idea of less tush push with no Kelsey and then also Kellen Moore kind of revamping the passing offense. So AJ Brown is someone I've been pressing a lot, but Puka and Wilson I've been back and forth on at this spot. And this is kind of where things just fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
On this turn, second round stucks. Are you galaxy braining anything here where you're like, I don't know, are you like taking Achan at the 202? Are you doing anything wonky? Or are you just kind of submitting?
Not that level. I would take Gibbs here if he falls because I think Gibbs and Puka is harder to get just because they're both sliding past ADP, and I don't think that's a normal chalk combo. But yeah, I wouldn't say galaxy brain, but I am okay bringing up any of the round 2 wide receivers. But do you want to go just Gibbs here since he falls?
Oh yeah. I honestly was kind of assuming Gibbs was going to go there, but I agree with you. Like to me, I've talked about this on the channel where it feels like I don't know, the top 8 is like this very consolidated tier, and then for me, Brown, Wilson, Puka, and Gibbs are all in this other tier of just like round 1 solid picks, and if I can get 2 of them at the turn, it doesn't feel as gross as usual. Like London Harrison, I hate to like shit on this guy Tony Pro, but that's gross to me.
Yeah.
Like that's a team without a first round pick. If like you kind of asked to be point blank,
Right. Yeah, and that's why like what I've been doing, I'll take, Garrett Wilson, Puka, Gibbs, and then I'll pull up I've done Waddle, I've done Debo, I've done Devonta Smith. Like you name a wide receiver that's, the back end. I've done Neighbors, anything like I don't really think the year 1 outcomes for Neighbors versus Harrison are like that different. I think Marvin Harrison, like, and you could speak more to the dynasty stuff. I think he has a much higher floor as like a dynasty prospect, but like year 1 upside, I'm like, what's the difference? Like, yeah, I know people are spooked about Daniel Jones or whatever, but Neighbors is a superstar too. So my thesis has been all the way to about the mid 3rd round, once DK Metcalf comes off the board or so, it's like super flat. And I think you can make the case to pull up anyone just to make sure you don't have the same combos over and over. And that's why I kind of get excited about Puka Gibbs, because not that that's an impossible combo to get, but it'll be far, far less frequent than, say, Garrett Wilson and Drake London.
Yeah, I agree. And it doesn't feel that crazy, right? Because like their ADPs are like 11 and 12, but they're the first round picks. And if you can come out of there with like 2 of them, it at least feels decent. And I think I saw a point the other day is like, I don't know, I get the high and low and stuff. I think it definitely matters, but also Amon-Ra St. Brown CD won it last year, right? So it's like,
yeah,
I mean that was the quintessential turn where like everybody was doing that. So there's so many obstacles to go through, anyways.
Yeah, and like the only reason, like, so the way I think it through, and I'm generally agree to, where I'm not like super worried about a chalk combo. I am worried if though, like you think about it this way, like use the DFS analogy. Let's say there's like 2 punt play wide receivers that are like 3K or whatever, and they end up on a ton of teams just because like they're the de facto salary relief. And it's like, it's not bad to have the 2 guys that have like high ownership, but if it's like those are the 2 pieces that just fit together and they're thinner plays, and if our thesis is a lot of these early second round guys are thinner and don't really separate from the others, then I get nervous about the combinatorial stuff. Whereas I don't think anyone last year was saying like CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra are overdrafted. I feel like everyone was like, yeah, this is how you play the turn. And this year it's like, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, make a case for any of these guys. So when that's the case, I do want to mix up the combos a bit more and just like try to navigate that in a slightly smarter way.
Yeah, I do like that call of just mixing it up at the turn. I will say there is the other thing as well where I've heard, I think Karain and you say it before, but these prices are going to change by the end of the summer does it? Are you less likely to get as aggressive with like pushing the neighbors up? Like I assume it's something you do like every once in a while. Is there any apprehension towards that?
Yeah, I mean that's generally my pushback to galaxy braining combos because say I've been using the Niners example, right? Like say the Ayuk trade or Debo trade or something like that does happen. Then all of a sudden the people who've been like reaching for those guys at the 1-2 turn or whatever, it's like, well, now that's a chalk combo. So if I'm doing, but that's why to me it all comes back to how you view tiers. And I think when people pull up across the tier, that's where I get nervous. So like an example would be, say with like people last year at the 2-3 turn were doing Lamar and Andrews. And like you were having to reach over really good players to secure that because there was no other way to get the stack in August. Like those two were untouchable unless you took them at the 2-3 turn. I thought you were sacrificing too much to do that. I'm trying to think if I can come up with a good example this year. But just like slightly pushing up a guy for correlation, like who cares? I just think when you reach across a tier, then you start to get in trouble.
Yeah, I think in our draft we saw a guy go like Collins, and then like the Dell Diggs thing. What are we thinking here at the turn? Do you have anybody you like? I imagine it's probably wide receiver here. You could
Yeah,
talk me
I
to anything.
normally am locking up Tank or Zay here. And normally they're not here for me.
All right, then let's go Tank. I told you we're gonna have the luxury of having a nice normie, soft, cushy room, man.
This was
It's
my
a
tweet
beautiful
I just
thing.
did this morning, just this evening, where someone flagged this. There was like a wolf who was howling in the sky. It was a
Oh
cloud
yeah,
that
yeah.
looked like. And I said, when Tank Dell slips 1.5 picks past ADP, like Tank Dell sliding 0.5 picks past ADP here. Ah, ooh.
My the Dubner has like a tool, and
Yeah.
my distribution of like picks that have that have like value is probably too much. Like I submit to ADP almost no matter what. Like there's probably no player that I'm too cool to draft 10 picks after ADP. Like inside the top 10 rounds, like of course,
Yeah.
120 and you get like 10 picks of value, whatever. But even as someone I'm full fading, like I don't love Keenan Allen, but if you give me him around past ADP, damn, Flowers goes. I would have liked the Flowers Dell double up
That
there.
would have been fun.
Any love for the onesies, or do you want to rip wide receivers?
Yeah.
We could go T, we could go Pickens.
I do have I've kind of had a little like soft rule of I will take Laporta in the fourth unless there's something else you really like. I'm happy with Laporta there,
No, let's go
especially because
Laporta.
we
We
have
already
Gibbs.
have Gibbs. Yeah, perfect. I've been apprehensive with Laporta, but I do kind of like that rule. If he's there in the fourth, I'm fine with it. And just apprehensive in the way that I don't know. Like if you put live odds to be the tight end one in fantasy, I don't know that I would make him the favorite or a favorite by enough to have him like meaningfully ahead of the other ones. Because he's like his ADP is like 33. He goes like half
Yeah.
around ahead of like Kelsey and the other guys. So he's someone I don't have a lot of, I'll be honest, on Laporta.
Yeah, I'm similar. It's kind of like it really is similar to say Marvin Harrison in some of those early round 2 guys where you're like, man, I don't view him that differently than the 7 wide receivers going behind him, the 5 tight ends going after him. And yet, do you really want to have a full fade on Marvin Harrison? Do you really want to have a full fade? And again, I always talk, I know some people get nauseated about the portfolio discussion at this point, but I do like framing it. If I was only doing 10 drafts and, I probably would have no Laporta. But like I'm gonna end up
Yeah.
doing like 300 drafts, and it's not smart to box yourself out of that kind of talent, especially when my whole thesis is I want to be in on elite tight end. And if I'm just arbitrarily not taking one guy because he's the most expensive over and over, because really the way you're framing it is the 2v2s, right? I'm basically saying I like the 2v2 of, let's just say here Zay Flowers fell or whatever for the point of example. Let's say I'm talking about Zay Flowers and Trey McBride versus Sam Laporta and I don't know who's going in that range, Chris Godwin or whoever. And it's like, yes, I prefer the McBride Zay side or whatever, the round 4, round 3 wide receiver, because that's typically where he goes. So I do slightly prefer that 2v2, but do I prefer it to the tune of 100% of the one side and 100% of the other?
Yeah, I agree. Those 2v2s are interesting though, especially with like, as I was going to ask, I know that your rooms are wide receiver heavy, but like, so I imagine in your rooms, like George Pickens and Amari Cooper can go in the 3rd round at times.
Yeah, Pickens is gone in the 3rd for sure. Yeah, Zay is basically never in the 4th round. Pat and I took him at like 3-5 today. So yeah, you do have to adjust, but here's the flip side, right? And I joke about this. I forget which wide receiver. I took one of those round 3 wide receivers. I pulled up T. I pulled up T to the 3rd round, but then I got Derrick Henry 10 picks past ADP. And so, and you looked at the ADPs and it was like, I took T where Derrick Henry goes, and I got Derrick Henry where T normally goes. But that's how you have to play it, right? Because if you don't grab T, then you're grabbing 2 running backs, you're getting buried in the avalanche, and your team looks like dog shit. So you basically have to play the meta game within that room. And it's not like I'm getting ADP value on Derrick Henry. It's like a wash with T Higgins. I'm getting the same combo as other drafters, but that's just how I have to navigate that room.
Yeah, it's like the game theory of trying to just like push the running backs. But yeah, you're right. Like you're not getting an edge just by kind of the thing that people tell them, like NFL draft night, like if they hate their 1st round pick, but they got a value in the 2nd, they're like, just switch them around. Just change the draft grade. It's fine. Just act like we took Laporta, not the I don't know. They took like some linebacker at 18 that everyone was mad about, the Lions, but yeah, that is an interesting way to think through it. But so I guess that does make you feel better. Like if you pull up, I don't mind pulling up T Higgins. For me, I don't know what it is. I am just a little bit squeamish on like a 3rd round George Pickens or a 3rd round Amari Cooper. Yeah. Or I mean, I imagine you might have even seen a 3rd round Christian Kirk. And for me, that's just a little bit tough to pull the trigger on. Especially like that. This is where I do want to pull the trigger on like Hurts, Allen, Laporta, because it is interesting to think like last year Hurts and Allen were both 2-3 turn picks, and they both, I believe, paid off there, right? Or like they definitely returned fine advance rate there, and now you're getting them like a full round cheaper. So I think Josh Allen might actually be my highest drafted quarterback right now.
I think round 4 is the detour round. Like the tight ends, the elite quarterbacks. Maybe like at the end, if you get like an ETN fall, like this drafter did. But yeah, like quarterbacks and tight ends for sure in this range. I mean, Sean Siegel today on Best Ball Breakfast floated his hot take. He likes the round 5 wide receivers more than the round 4. And I understand like the market is kind of down on Reed and Keenan, but I'm like right there with him. Like I don't view Reed and Keenan different from Kirk and Amari and Pickens. So I do think it just sets up so well this year. Like you said, grab that elite quarterback, grab that elite tight end right in that round 4 pocket.
Man. All right. So this is a decent area. I'm curious if you have any, if you might spare a player take here. If you're looking at quarterback, if you're looking at receiver, who do you like here?
My player take is I've been wanting to get more and more Xavier Worthy.
Really?
He's the guy that jumps out to me of these guys.
All right, let's do Worthy then. And then we'll see what comes back to us. I will say I'm not the biggest Worthy fan myself, so I'm happy to mix him in. I do just have to say, like 5th round Xavier Worthy does feel absurd. It does. It does. Just when you just give me that in a vacuum, and we talk about like Brian Thomas and the rest of those guys go rounds later, it's a tough price to stomach for me. I have been mixing him in. I get the upside of course, Chiefs rookie late season upside, but he does have a weird. I don't know how he fits into the offense, I guess.
Yeah, to me, like it is. You are chasing kind of like a unicorn thing, but I feel like you have so many outs, right? You have the outs of just how many times have the Chiefs tried to find a competent receiver post Tyreek Hill? In this spot, I don't even mind. Like, I know Stroud is falling. Like, I have no problem if you like the elite quarterback, just locking up that stack, or dealer's choice on a wide receiver.
Man, let's go Godwin and push wide receiver a little bit.
Push quarterback?
Or quarterback a little bit. I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that.
What was I going to say about Xavier Worthy? Okay. Yeah, so I feel like you have outs, right? You have just the situation. They've been looking for a wide receiver. Yes, Rashee Rice appears to be a hit. There's obviously uncertainty there. Then you have his otherworldly athleticism. It really is just like the mid IQ take or the low IQ take of just like fast player with Patrick Mahomes. This could be incredible. And like even if you get where he's like, if he's like a souped up version of MVS, Are you overpaying for him in the 5th round? Yeah, probably. That's probably more like an 8th, 9th round pick. But like, I don't even know if that burns you. But if he is rookie year Deshaun Jackson, which was a player Andy Reid drafted, was immediately the top receiver on that Eagles team that he coached. They used him in punt returns. Just had this versatile skill set where they were getting him the ball a ton. Like that's a smash, especially with the way these BBM pod dynamics work. Like getting the most explosive player tethered to Patrick Mahomes for the 3 money weeks is just intoxicating to me. And then I think there is even room for him to be like more of a league winner smash where he's a 2nd round pick next year because he clicks. So I just think there's outs to him. And like, I don't think there's like much difference between like him and Pickens. And you can go through these guys. I think there is a tier break, obviously, after Flowers there. But I think what he offers from like a single game and playoff spike here is well worth the cost.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think it's tough to call it a bad pick. I'm trying to get about on market with it. I was a bigger fan when he was like a 6th round pick. He keeps creeping up. Him and Marquise Brown keep creeping up. This guy, by the way, took Terry McLaurin at 303. I don't know.
Yeah.
That kind of slipped past my radar. So good. I mean, he's just kind of been saying FADP the entire draft. He goes Bijan 3, Neighbors at 2, McLaurin, Hollywood, Pitts.
Well,
Just
I tell
marching
you
to the
what
beat of his own drum.
He's setting up a little week 17 between the Falcons and the Commanders is what he's doing.
Oh, good on him. He's ahead of the game here. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with Worthy. I think Worthy. I do agree with what you outlined. I think it's a little bit rich, the price. I think you'd probably agree too. It's not like he's a screaming value. He's just a player you have to take there.
This kind of goes back to the thing I was just talking about with the Derrick Henry, T. Higgins, right? It's like, do all of those running backs like project for more than him that go like a round and a half, 2 rounds later? Like all those guys, the Najee, the Jalen Warrens, literally name any of those guys, Aaron Jones. They do. But the market has pushed up these wide receivers because of how important the wide receiver firepower is on Underdog. And so if you frame it like that, like, oh, if we just switched it and all those running backs went earlier and then Xavier Worthy was going like closer to where, Jamison Williams and Cortland Sutton are going, like no one would bat an eye. They're like rookie wide receiver with Patrick Mahomes. It's just the sticker shock. And so to me, it's less a Xavier Worthy thing and more just the market dynamics of all of these guys getting pushed up.
Yeah. I'm curious too on your thoughts with like, I don't know. I mean, you've been drafting since like the first BBM or like the second BBM. I guess where are you at in just kind of like the entire landscape of like, have we overcorrected? Because we just got, and we can all take a big fat victory lap. Sean Siegel included, like 0 RB won the thing last year. But before that, it was 2 double hero RB teams. And then like the year before that was a hyper fragile team. So I guess I am curious, like, is there a chance that like a hyper fragile team or a double hero RB team wins this thing this year, and then ADP kind of reverts back to normal, or is this just kind of the new normal? Is this even efficient? Like, I don't know. I just have I do have a lot of boomer like questions when I see just the way that drafts have kind of shaken out this summer.
Yeah, let's make
that is a loaded question
picks.
As we're 1 pick away. Yeah.
Yeah, let's make. I definitely have thoughts on that. I can't believe Stroud almost came all the way back.
Yeah, we almost
there.
got him. Damn, that would have been pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
All right.
We're in good shape here, though. I think this is pretty clearly some at least a running back pick here. This first one.
I'm going to float out. Would you be that opposed to Sutton and then we just take whatever running back we want at this next pick? To me, Sutton's a tier break and I'm scared that he might take him, but I am fine running.
I'm fine if you want to grab Sutton. I don't mind these builds where I just have 4 and then I circle back in like the 120s.
What running back you got?
Ramondre or Brooks or I like Ramondre a good bit.
All right, let's go Ramondre, and then I'm down to kind of see what he brings back to us, because you're saying like in this setup here, you're fine double tapping running back 7, 8.
Yeah, like to me, it is a little scary, like because we get our anchor running back with Gibbs, we get our elite tight end. to me, like one of the most simple rules is like getting those 4 wide receivers through 7 rounds. And, we did that. We can maybe Xavier Worthy makes us feel a little more queasy than we normally would. I actually think Godwin's kind of a nice compliment to him, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
we know the targets we're getting with Godwin, but like, I don't want to swim upstream against the value pockets of the draft. And the where I think you get in trouble, and this will circle back to, we can talk about that dynamic of like, have things jump the shark, is when you're pulling up players into ranges for structural reasons that don't deserve to be there. I don't think Cortland Sutton's a bad pick, but I also don't want to be taking him like ahead of ADP, just because I feel like I need a wide receiver. And to me, like these running backs still project a lot better. Like I'm fine taking Sutton. Like I already got you to push him once. I would probably take a Steeler, but I don't have a problem taking Sutton here.
I think I'd rather go Steeler. Let's go with do you have a preference between Najee or Warren? We can get the other side of that KC game.
Yeah, I mean, let's do Warren, because normally if I have a true 0 RB build, I might just go Najee, lock in some of the touches. But because we got Gibbs, Ramondre, I think we can take a big cut with Jaylen Warren.
Yeah, I like that call too. Sets us up. I mean, it's going to be potentially a 3 quarterback build. We could talk about the Fields thing later. But yeah, that is an interesting take on it, because that is like, this is going to be a green zone for running backs, and it doesn't feel great double tapping them when you already have a running back and you took a detour before that. It feels like if we're kind of playing the game of has things jumped the shark, or just like what this new environment is, the wide receivers pushing things up. If there is a dead zone, it probably would be kind of in this area, which does make you a little bit queasy. But I also do think maybe the dead zone's not a thing at this point, as like everything's just kind of valued efficiently. But yeah, I'm curious, like, have things jumped the shark? Like, how do you kind of just feel on the landscape and how you're sort of treating things? Because, conventionally, this is just not how draft boards have set up in the past.
Yeah, I think one thing that is an easy place to start is thinking about structural strategies more so through the lens of total draft capital spent on the position and less on the exact order they were selected. So Karane's team is a really good example of this. It was a double running back start. He didn't take his 3rd running back until I think it was like the 12th or 13th round. Like really punted running back, knowing like I'm playing these two, Eckler and Barkley, as the nuts, and I don't need anything else. And so to answer your question, could a double running back start this year? When absolutely. Like I could so see a CMC JT, like JT falls all the way, or a CMC Achane. The thing is I think those teams have to be constructed really smart around those. And I start to go down this what if path. And if a double RB team wins, I probably think they got a late round quarterback and or a late round tight end hit, because it's really hard to get the 2 running backs and they couldn't do the 2 running backs and Laporta and Lamar. Like you are now so behind at wide receiver. So it's like, how can someone get those 4 wide receivers through 7, which just year over year is something we see as something you need, that firepower. Can you make that work with, you essentially have 3 detours, 2 running backs? I think you can make it work. What we just did with a running back and a tight end, I think you can mix and match around that. But I do think the game has changed in that you have to get those wide receivers early, and you have your luxury picks that you can mess around and mix and match how you want. But if you're getting behind that, I do think that those days are gone. Like, I just don't know how you can recover from that if you're getting your, wide receiver 3 in the double-digit rounds.
Yeah, I like that call. You just have to kind of think about it through the buckets. And then, like you said, where you do have to just kind of, and I think it's something that Jacob Sanderson has sort of said, where when you put two players together, like Jonathan Taylor 100% projects probably better than like Marvin Harrison or Drake London, or I don't know. A better example might be someone like Saquon versus Neighbors or Debo or Devontae. And it is kind of just taking your medicine for the sake of the flexibility later, where it's just kind of, and I am just curious, like, if, I don't know if the normies are going to push it back, because it is this weird thing where it's probably not efficient from a wins above replacement sort of aspect, but it is efficient from a roster construction, like team building aspect of like wide receivers and a 3 wide receiver, 1 flex format, best ball. Like wide receivers are the lifeblood of your team, where like wide receiver is all that matters, and then you have to take detours elsewhere. So that is what it is. And I think that's kind of some of the pushback, where it's like, well, like Saquon outprojects all these guys in half PPR, and it's like, well, if you take Saquon here and then you get greedy on the running backs, then you've already lost.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's like a scoring setting thing, right? Like you even look at like the Scott Fishbowl settings, right? And they're like really tilted toward quarterback and tight ends and whatever. And it's like, yeah, you can smack your head against the wall drafting a bunch of wide receivers, but if the scoring settings don't reward it, or the roster settings, like you're screwed. And I think the super flex analogy is always a good one too, right? Like you can
Yeah.
think everyone is so quarterback hungry. Like, what are you guys doing? You just took Jordan Love at 1-6 or, whatever guys are getting pushed up. But are you going to go to battle with Sam Darnold, Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett because you thought you were getting really good value on those other positions? Like, good luck. Like at some point, you have to have those points in your starting lineup. And the way Underdog works in these tournaments, you have to have mega scores from those 3 wide receivers plus the flex. We can quibble about the flex stuff, but it is not negotiable. You're going to have 3 wide receiver scores, and you're going to be going against teams that have started their draft with 3 elite wide receivers.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to talk about the flexing because that is interesting. Damn. All right, so we got like nothing but quarterbacks available. I don't think we really have anything for Dak. But the QBs are falling. The wide receivers. This is where wide receiver gets brutal here. Man, do you got anything? So I got nothing.
So what I would probably do in this spot is take Jaden Daniels. He's a guy that gives us some backdoor stacking options. He takes the pressure off of us if we get sniped on a Goff. If we don't want to end up with just like a Stafford Baker thing. I just like the flexibility Daniels gives us. I think we can take Daniels in the direction of a 3 quarterback build if we want. He can open us up to a 2 quarterback build with Jared Goff. I think he's like the most flexibility pick here.
All right, let's go Daniels then. I think I would have taken Love, but I am fine with Daniels. Just because I've been doing this thing that I think I should probably stop doing, but I just keep taking Dontavion Wicks like maybe 10 picks ahead of ADP. Like to me, you could talk me into Love Wicks at this turn here if you wanted to.
Yeah, and I mean, was Dobbs already gone too?
Or is Dobbs is already gone.
Yeah.
So it's not like I also do like the idea of Jaden Daniels as well, just with the rushing upside.
Yeah. I like Love too. I do like the Jaden Daniels stuff more as the backdoor stack because one, like skinny stacking Jordan Love doesn't feel near as good. Whereas even if we got like with Sinnott and McCaffrey, it's almost impossible to get sniped. But we're back on the clock here. This is where I would probably take one more running back before we swing back. I like both Javonte and Spears if you have a preference. We don't have any correlation tiebreakers yet.
Let's go Javonte. I do kind of like Javonte as this post-hype sleeper kind of thing. I know Gretsch has been caping up for him recently, right? Or not recently, but in the past few weeks. Because McLaughlin got a lot of steam. They drafted Audric Estime. But Javonte is going to lead them in volume, and Sean Payton is there. So, I don't know. Yeah. I don't have a huge problem with Javonte in the 10th.
Yeah, I don't either. I click him a good bit. I think he, like circling back to this running back conversation, it's something Pat and I have been talking about on Best Ball Breakfast. The other nice thing about a room like this is we could theoretically shut it down at running back right now. I do not think it would be crazy to roll with a Gibbs, Ramondre, Jalen Warren, Javonte. I mean, Warren's like the only guy there that doesn't project for maybe, 15 plus touches a game right off the rip. Like we could play this if you think, Ramondre was getting drafted at the 2-3 turn at times last year, myself included. The reason you're drafting Jalen Warren right here is because you think he could take a Tony Pollard like jump of just being an efficiency monster. And then Javonte, we also were drafting at the 2-3 turn in his heyday. So if you think about like the ways this team hits, it's Ramondre and Javonte return round 2 or round 3 value. And then if you said we started our draft with a wide receiver, Javonte, Ramondre Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, and Jahmyr Gibbs, you'd say, all right, just take one more running back and shut it down. So I think that's where I like to start to play with this draft environment where you're saying, how do I take advantage of the cheaper running back prices? And also, we're going to need to do this because we're behind at wide receiver. So we're going to need the extra darts there. So not saying we shut it down because there will almost for sure be an extreme running back value we like, but it does give us the flexibility to be nearly done at running back.
And I am curious. I mean, this is kind of a casual question with the bye week bros, but I am curious. Like, would half of your running backs having a week 14 bye turn you off of a 4 running back build? As crazy as that is to say.
It's not ideal. I think, yeah. I think in a perfect world, if you are doing the 4 running backs, you don't have any overlapping buys. And I think for our 5th running back, we would try to sidestep a week 14 bye.
Yeah, that's where I'm at because I mean, just a peek behind the curtain. I know we're gonna do a show here after this, talking about some ideal or some Galaxy Brain stuff. I do like 10% of my drafts right now end with 4 running backs, but that is something that I've been running into where it's like maybe I'd like one more to not have all of these bye weeks. But I am curious.
Yeah.
I know probably like Leone or somebody has done something, but I am curious. I know that we were very risk adverse towards bye weeks, and maybe something came out from like a Leone or somebody to kind of scare us all a little bit of just like not wanting to take a 0 anywhere. Because I remember like back in the day, people would post screenshots of like, oh shit, my quarterbacks have the same bye week, and like now that's pretty frowned upon, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Farley did some really good work last year looking at advance rate stuff for basically all the positions. And obviously QB is the worst because you're taking a 0 there, what, about 20-point hit. And the stuff he was showing, a lot of times people push back. They're like, oh, if you win your league, there's generally a big gap between first and second. And his data kind of reflected that normally first does kind of separate, but it's the gap between second and third that's often just a few points. And so
Yeah.
sacrificing those, and this kind of goes back to the portfolio discussion. If you had one draft and you're like, dude, I want Lamar Jackson and Drake May on the same team, it's like, who cares? Like, if your team smashes, like, great. But I think over a portfolio, you think about it as like, either taking a little edge off or taking a ding or getting like a boost. And it's like, if you're constantly taking a ding, you're probably going to lose a couple of teams you otherwise wouldn't have if you keep doing that over and over. So my thought is like, it's hard enough to get these teams to the playoffs. It's hard enough to sun run. Like, let's just not handicap ourselves unless something breaks super right. Like you have that perfect double stack on both sides and you're just like, this team's too perfect. Let's just see if I can get through it. So I don't mind that. Or you get a massive ADP value and you're like, who cares? This guy's 40 picks past. That can offset that. But I don't want to be like seeking it out or doing it too much.
Yeah, I like that call as well. Where I mean, I respect bye weeks is kind of the best way that I could put it at this point. Do you have anybody like that? I mean, we could take Dotson for the Jaden Daniels thing. Oh, come on, man. All right, so never mind on Dotson.
Yeah, I don't take a ton of Dotson, but that would have been nice.
Neither.
I think this is definitely for me like I prefer like Leggett or Polk. I also would be fine with Gabe Davis if you like him, and then push. Maybe we see if like the running back we like falls.
Let's do Leggett. Are you saying like falls past this turn or falls to the 13th round?
Well, I guess I was going to consider Eckler. I don't know where you're at on him. I've gotten some really cheap Eckler, and I'm certainly not opposed to it on a Daniels team.
Huh. I don't mind Eckler. I will say he does have the week 14 bye if you care about that.
Yeah. Let's
but I'm open to not caring about that, as I've said. But yeah, I'd be down. We can double tap receiver. If this guy takes Polk here, I think you could talk me into Eckler or something. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we could probably take receiver here. We'll see what Tony Pro does.
Yeah, an 8th wide receiver here would be kind of crazy on his part, but man, watch me will it into existence.
Yeah, he's a pro, man.
This is an interesting spot, but I will say, like, I love
Dan. All right. Yeah, there it is.
The 8th wide receiver there is not optimal for him, but we will survive. I would take a running back here because I think this is where we grab our running back and we shut it down.
I kind of like Eckler, but if I know we just did talk about the bye week.
I would do Eckler or Charbonnet or Kendre.
Let's do Eckler, man.
Yeah, get a little correlation.
The bye week bros are going to be sick, man. But that's what streaming's all about.
I will say, to me though, the bye week stuff for the running back is more of the hyper fragile when you have the 4. Because then if you have 2 of the bye week, you're rolling in just 2. Whereas this one with the 5, I'm like a little less. It's not ideal, but I'm not gonna worry about this team because of that.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, we're at least gonna have Gibbs there, and then if we punt RB2 for 1 week, I feel like that's probably one of the positions that you could probably live without for a week. So, and that's assuming that Warren can't squeeze anything out in that week.
Can I look at Tony Pro's team? I want to see how bad I want to tilt.
Yeah, take a gander at what Tony Bro, or let's actually just look
Yeah,
here.
go to the board. I want to see.
Tony Pro.
So they started 4 straight and then went away from it. So that is not bad. I like the AD Mitchell pick. Yeah, I'm not going 8 there. I'm just tilting not one of Gabe or Polk coming back. I think 8's a little excessive when you start 4. But whatever, I'm over it.
Man, like I said, I don't know. Even for the sake of combinations, I can't start a draft like that. If I can help it in any draft where I have the top 12 picks, I'm taking Puka or Gibbs at the 11, 12. I don't know. Like, I know that we just talked about tiers. To me, there's a really big tier gap to London and Marvin Harrison Jr., two guys that we haven't really seen do anything yet. Obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. is a rookie, but it's just like, I don't know. I look at this team on paper and it just doesn't have a first round pick. And I know, maybe he hits on one of the middle round guys who's like a first round pick next year. But man, it's just that's an icky team to me. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's doing some galaxy brain stuff where this is how you win from the 12 spot. I know that Jacob Sanderson wrote about that a couple weeks ago, but I don't know that this is how I would do it. Have you been doing any? I've been messing around. Like, would you be open? Or I guess it's tough. I mean, with Gibbs here, like, let's say you take Gibbs at 12 as this guy. Have you done any Gibbs Taylor? Which I know in your streams probably not.
No, I haven't.
In a draft like this, would you consider it? Just for the one time.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's bad. I think we could build. I think you can build a really smart Gibbs Taylor team. Like, I don't think that's impossible. Do I maybe think it's like optimal? No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for sure you could build a Gibbs Taylor team. And again, going back to that thing, you probably want to hit, 4 straight wide receivers. Maybe if you like the Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor thing, maybe you could try to pull that off. Because I do think like the outcomes were like JT. It's interesting, right? Because JT and Anthony Richardson probably vulture each other a little bit. And yet, if one of them is scoring an outrageous amount of touchdowns, it probably means the offense is absolutely humming and the others having a lot of success too. So like, I don't know, maybe that correlation offsets. But anyways, yeah, I think I just want to be very intentional about it and basically know like, hey, I threw out my early flexibility in this draft. I started running back. I got to eat my vegetables now, draft a bunch of wide receivers, and then I can make this work.
Yeah, I like that call. It's pretty much what you just said of just like you have to be very mindful of that RB3. Like it probably can't come until after round 7, and even like you said with the Crane team, I think he said you said like RB3 round 12ish. You should really just be punting it. Like it should just be those two, and kind of just a skeleton room of running back. And then like you can maybe talk yourself into a detour for like I don't know a onesie, but yeah, it's gonna be about getting the wide receiver firepower and then having enough of it so that you can go 3 onesies at one of the spots most likely. All right, so we have some things on the board.
I think we probably lock up Stafford with our first round pick. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that call. We'll take Stafford. I've been coming around on Moody, but I swear to God, if Tony Pro takes one more wide receiver.
Well, at this point, we want him to because he'd be submarining his own team. Man. See, this is kind of the issue for Tony Pro is like that 8th wide receiver. He took that 8th wide receiver over a really good running back option in that range. Like wasn't Rico and those guys still on the board, which is a really nice like RB4 in a 0 RB build. And he's not going to have any production from Brooks early. So I think that was the misstep there, but he got me tilting and he got his stream tilt equity out of it.
But would you say that he paid the rake?
We'll see. We'll see how he lands this. Because he's looking at a 3 tight end build and he needs a second quarterback. So I will be fascinated.
He's banking on a lot of future points right now. He's got Hawkinson, he's got Brooks, he's got Harrison, a lot of guys that are going to score him points later on. I mean, yeah, man. Yeah. Godspeed to Tony Pro. I am not high on the squad that he's put out here, but
I actually like Mooney here for us. Bring back past ADP, need wide receiver seems like the pick.
Yep. I'm coming around on him. Just in this Falcons offense is going to be good. High A dot. Just feels like a best ball pick. He had an interesting run there where like I'm trying to think through. I don't know. He was like this. People thought maybe he could be on like a Stephon Diggs type of trajectory where he was like really good early on, 5th-round pick for the Bears. His per route data was good, and then just nothing happened. It was like him and Gabe Davis were the two darlings of like really strong year ones, but day 3 picks. And neither of them proved to be, your Amon-Ra St. Brown or Stephon Diggs types, but he had that hope early on.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not I think I've taken him a couple times with Cousins. I do think if the offense hits in a way where Pitts and London are smashes, I think Darnell Mooney is certainly having a few spike week games. And to me, I was talking about this on my stream this morning about how I like to think about correlation. And this is the perfect way I like to get shares of a guy like Darnell Mooney, who's like not going to be a core part of my draft strategy or my portfolio. How does Darnell Mooney win us $1.5 million? Is probably in a nutty game environment in week 17 where they're going back and forth and he gets loose for a bomb and speeds up the game. He needs that environment. He needs the bonkers game to have a 20-point game, right? Like Mooney's not going to be projecting for that in any normal environment. So we're setting up something with Jaden Daniels. We need to bring back here. We're playing this game as a fast shootout with a ton of points. Like Mooney's the way this team finishes at the top of a week 17 pod.
Yeah, I like that call. I will say, I feel like I've seen you do some writing on it, but something that I like kind of neglect is actually thinking through the week 17 environments. I kind of just go for whatever my team is shaping into. But I do like, as you tell me a little story there of this Atlanta. Is it in the dome? I'm not sure.
It is in the dome. I'm actually more agnostic where like I just want to correlate whatever I've done.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, this would just be an example. Yeah, and like if we needed running back, I would have pushed for Algier. I think I prefer Algier over Mooney if like all things are equal, but we're good at running back and we need wide receivers.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say kind of a random question, but I am curious as like we're in BBM5. I do keep like hearing whispers on Twitter. I know I was gonna say you said RNG earlier. I don't know what the hell that means, Pete.
Random number generator, how you get your first round picks. It's just a randomizer.
Oh yeah. But what was I gonna say? But like I keep seeing people with like the poker stuff and the game theory stuff. How close do you like? Because you've seen DFS come. I'm not gonna say come and go, but you've seen it come from a spot where like anybody can make money, and then the guys, and now it's like all the big dogs. I don't know. People aren't. I don't know how to speak about DFS, but you get what I'm saying. It's a much more solved game. There's like there's sims and whatever.
Yeah.
How do you feel about best ball? Because like now we're seeing this ADP like really shift. Like, does it feel like we're getting there where the edge is thinning, or I am just curious like how you're kind of thinking through that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's like free money laying around in best ball. I think a lot of the field are building better teams. They're prioritizing the stuff that's important. But I also think like from a solving standpoint, from how efficient it is, or I don't know. I do think the market's more efficient, but it's never going to attract the kind of people it did in DFS. Like they're never going to want to tie up their money for this long. Even the best sims right now can't simulate full season stuff. It's like, it's too hard to do. And there's so much randomness. There's so much volatility that I think best ball is somewhat insulated. Obviously machines and sims are going to get better and better, but I do think it's protected in that front. I think if you were trying to harness that kind of computing power, there's so many other things like with the stock market or sports betting that you'd want to use. We got to lock up Luke McCaffrey here.
All right, perfect. I like Luke McCaffrey myself. He is interesting. His prospect profile sucks, but he was a day 2 pick that played quarterback. So it's like, I don't know, his numbers aren't going to pop regardless. A little Nepo baby stuff going on there. But yeah, I think I largely agree where it's not like chess where there's answers to the test or whatever, like, or even poker where, there's set in stone probabilities of everything happening. There's a lot of random variables, but of course it's not the same in terms of just like, I don't know, there's more badges in the lobbies. But I will say in as we get deeper into the summer and you don't only draft when Pete tips you off in the Discord, you'll find some very soft rooms in the summer.
I am also tilting Ben Sinnott. I mean,
yeah, I was going to say that, man.
I wanted both for this team. Luke was nice there.
Nothing
So
sticks
Kate,
out to me.
I'm not a huge Kate Otten guy, but I love just getting more stacks, and we have Godwin. Do we have any buy overlap with Laporta?
No, we can
Um,
go on.
I think Otten's probably where I'd go, and then unless there's a wide receiver you see.
I got nothing. No, we'll go with that. Yeah, no, the wide receivers are, geez.
The other thing we can do is what quarterbacks are still up there? Is Bryce Young still around? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we could, we kind of have our 2 game stacks going right now. We got our Washington and Atlanta. We could set up a Carolina, Tampa Bay. I think it'd be perfectly fine to shut this down at 2 quarterbacks. I also don't mind the idea of a third. We could even do something like Drake May, Ramondre, and another random Patriots wide receiver would be in play.
Yeah, I like those calls. All right, so we're done at tight end, and I'd say we're done at running back at this point.
Yes.
So yeah, I like that call. So we already have the Tampa Bay side, we have the Carolina side of Bryce Young, and then you were also hinting at potentially Drake May.
There's a couple different ways you could do it. There's also some Arizona bringbacks if we want to get something opposite Stafford. Zay Jones just went, but Dortch should be kicking around. So there's some options there.
I love Dortch. I was going to ask if but I guess you've already kind of answered it by putting him out there, but you're going like a wide receiver bring back in week 8 or round 18, and that's like pretty much fine. Because I almost feel, I know that that's like a weird structured question, but I almost feel like I'd rather that Dortch pick if I had the Kyler side than the Rams side. Just because, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it does. It feels like your round 18 pick you want almost, because it's such I don't know, this is the way that I'm thinking through it. It's such like a low EV pick or garbage pick. I'd almost want it tied to the team's success. But I don't mind it being that one-off on the other side of week 18, but I have kind of shied away from that.
Yeah, it's funny because I guess that doesn't bother me, although Dortch is kind of a good example where his profile, right, is going to be lower A dot, not necessarily a big play guy. So that doesn't fit the thesis like quite as well for me. Like you see these 2 picks that just went, Khalif Raymond, Jalen Hyatt. I mean, these are high A dot, big boom bust type receivers. Like those are more the archetype I would prefer as my late round. But I do think you get in trouble, myself included, when we try to pinpoint exactly how we think this game will go or whatever, where it's basically just saying, hey, we hope there's a lot of points in here and this rising tide lifts all of these boats.
Yeah, and then you just kind of hope for Dortch to give you maybe something. But I think I might just be overvaluing a round 18 pick. Like round 18 pick might not really do anything for you, and it could still be fine.
And that goes back to the correlation, right? Like the odds are the pick doesn't hit. So what are the ways it hits? You're a prospect eval god and you find the next Puka or Tank Dell, or you get them in a bonkers game environment. There's all the good analogies. Hertzig's team had the KJ Hamler spike early in the playoffs. Yep. Karain had Tyquan Thornton spiking last year. A.T. Perry, had a big week 17. It's like these guys don't even have to be good. They just have to get that spike.
So what you're saying is that you'll take a Brendan Rice here and there?
You know what? I think I have with a guest on stream. I don't know if I've done it myself. I like Bryce Young here. If we get him,
if Will MVP could chill out, and he goes Bryce Young. All right, yeah.
I have mushed us so hard, man.
We fall back
I probably would
into
pivot
like May,
to the Drake May,
and then we take like a Kendrick Bourne after.
Yeah,
I think we could do that. Yeah,
May. Jeez, with who are you buying on the Osborne or Kendrick Bourne as your super late flyer
for New England? I'm going to be honest with you, Pete. I wasn't aware that KJ Osborne was on this 53-man roster, so probably Kendrick Bourne for me personally. I know he's a big Siegel guy. I know that he's coming off the ACL or whatever, but
the reason I ask is because there was a report The Athletic said like KJ Osborne is going to be starting in 3 wide receiver sets for the Patriots this year. So he got a little steam. I'm with you. I generally prefer, I think, Kendrick Bourne. It's just he's coming off of the injury and maybe it's a little bit more dicey, but it doesn't matter.
Do you want to pull your once every draft trump card here and go KJ Osborne? I'm
Yeah.
surrendering that right to you if you'd like it.
This is how you get back on getting sniped on Jalen Polk and Bryce Young, is you take KJ Osborne.
Do you want KJ Osborne?
I've taken both in Drake May stacks. I honestly think it's just, you flip a coin, take whoever you want.
I'm gonna take Osborne because I don't know that I'll remember to take him at some other random time. So we're gonna mix in a KJ Osborne to Drake May thing there. Maybe that'll be his guy. No, they're probably playing on the second team together. You can talk yourself into a nice little story there.
Yeah, so I mean that's a spot that is a bummer because like we were lining up all the correlations, like we could have done Bryce and then Dortch and then kind of put a bow on all of those games. But I think Drake May has a higher ceiling than Bryce Young this year. Probably a better cut for a QB3 anyways. And we still have him stacked with both Osborne and Ramondre. So we still get our stacks. And that's why it's just nice to have that flexibility. And Ramondre gave us another out there that I like.
Yeah. I kind of wish I thought about the Justin Fields thing, but I will say May is probably just too much better of a projection. Like if it wasn't May, even then I've been wanting, like Fields is the guy I've been wanting to mix in, but it's just like I don't know how you can say that he like projects better than Knicks or like JJ McCarthy. Like all of them have to be off the board for me to be like, you know what, I'll take the Fields pick here.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Like I know Josh and Hayden mentioned Drake on their recent show. He does. I'm curious, like, where do you think if the Patriots came out tomorrow and said Drake May is our week 1 starter, Jacoby Brissett is our backup quarterback, like if we knew for 100% certainty Drake May was starting all 17 games, where do you think he'd go?
The crazy thing is I think he'd probably be between Tua and Stafford, which I feel like isn't that high. I think he'd be right around Tua. That'd be my guess. But that might even be too high. I don't know. The market doesn't across the board. Dynasty market hasn't liked him. Redraft market hasn't liked him. There's some kind of stink with the Patriots. I don't really have a rhyme or reason for it, but I think even if they came out, even if there was like an August report of like, okay, he's going to start week 1, Gerard Mayo comes out, I don't know that would change that much. Like you've had Crane steaming him all summer. Or you've had him steaming him since like the day he was conceived in fantasy football land. And then I mean he did go 162 in the draft I did before you hopped on. So I mean he definitely has a wide range. I'm sure you've seen as well. But yeah, I don't know that he makes it past that Tua like almost wall here because I think no one's going to take him ahead of I mean like Herbert will go in the 130s sometimes. But I think you could definitely make a case, right? With just like the rushing upside, young offense. I think Van Pelt's there who's interesting.
Yeah, I think he's a great pick. I agree. I think he would be right in that Baker and Watson range here in round 14. So not too far off from you because of that same thing. I think people just are not excited about the Patriots. They have the cheapest wide receiver 1 on all of Underdog with where Polk is going. The market's just not excited about this team, which I think makes them just such a incredible target. Because if they're wrong, like at least 2 of these guys are just going to obliterate their ADP.
Yeah, people love Jalen Polk, or not people, but I mean, like not ADP, or actually no, ADP has been screaming up Jalen Polk, but people love Jalen Polk. Like Hunter Henry's a good NFL player. They're interesting. I don't know. I'm I'm a tortured Jets fan. I have a hard time being like, oh yeah, the Patriots, and I know that Bill's not there or whatever. I have a hard time being like, yeah, this is a poverty franchise that a young quarterback can't figure it out in,
I mean, we're just collectively so bad at identifying which of these quarterbacks are going to be good for real life, but we're actually like pretty good at understanding like what tools they at least have. And it's like, could Drake May be Zach Wilson? Sorry to trigger you. I mean, I think he could, right? Like the big guy who can run a little bit, that has a cannon of an arm, but then like flops. Yeah, exactly. I think that's firmly in the range of outcomes, but it's like, he could also be like young Josh Allen or Justin Herbert, and it like wouldn't shock me either. So it's like, all right, if you're going to make me only pay around 17. And again, like for this build, I mean, I think you can make the case Drake May works paired with an elite quarterback because it's like, how is this guy ever seeing my lineup? Well, he offers a few spike weeks and gets there. But then I also think he's an awesome QB3, where we took this team and now we have like a steady presence in Stafford. We know what we're getting. He's tied to our first round pick, which we need, that to work out. And then we just take two massive upside swings with Drake May and Jaden Daniels. And that's why I love the flexibility of the Daniels pick, because we could have shut it down if we were really feeling pinched at wide receiver and needed more spots there. But getting to a 3 quarterback build where we also have 2 of them with pretty legit single game upside down the stretch, like I love how that works with this, BBM structure.
Yeah, me too. I'm also curious on just like the structure of this team. How are we feeling about it? Where we go like hero RB, we pound some running backs in the middle here. I guess it's funny to call this the middle. Like this is really more this is more late, really. And then Austin Eckler pick to just screw the bye week bros. But overall, like, is this a team that's possible in the draft rooms that you're in? How do you feel? And I'll make sure I name it Pete. I won't charge it. Of course, I won't charge the $12.50 equity or whatever the hell it is.
Well, we're gonna swap. You're gonna come do one on my Deposit Kingdom channel here in a sec.
Yeah. So I'll make sure I'll have my people talk to your people, and we'll credit that, and it'll offset.
Yeah, this room didn't end up being like that different. I mean, just like one little marginal difference would be like Tank Dell's not normally there. And then some of the like other trendy names like Jalen Warren is normally going to go ahead of like Zamir White, like in my rooms. But other than that, like nothing here really stood out, getting sniped on Jalen Polk. That's something I'm very familiar with. Yeah. So otherwise I didn't think this was a too abnormal.
Yeah, and I think it was a good thought experiment that you kind of said where I think somebody might be like, well, P has an interesting situation here. He's doing 150 drafts in a completely different environment from the rest of us. How is that going to look? Mm-hmm. I mean, it is kind of just the pattern in which you're taking the players. I know that's like a weird thing to say because it's like, you're getting ADP value, but what you said, where in the 4th round, if you reach on Flowers because you're going to get the falling value of the running back the next round. So you're getting like the same combinations, and you're going to have to reach on a wide receiver, but you're going to get running backs fall elsewhere. So it kind of does. I mean, your environments will definitely make some things unique, but overall, it feels like it's kind of a wash in the end, which I feel like probably is why, it's not like a massively minus EV or plus EV endeavor for you, where it's like, I imagine it's not that much different.
The best way I can think about it is it really comes down to flexibility. And if you get in a room that is even slightly more wide receiver heavy than the ADP market, which is already wide receiver heavy, and you're trying some weird non-wide receiver stuff early, like you will hate your team. I'm telling you, you will hate your team. So if I'm going to do an analogy, it's like you're boxing and you're kind of feeling each other out. You're watching a Floyd Mayweather fight where it's just like, man, is anything going to happen? He's like feeling you out. He's seeing where you're at. Lots of jabs, lots of feints, whereas like if you see, but then if I do a normal room and like Derrick Henry falls 10 picks past ADP around, I'm like, oh, I got an opening for here. Like I know I'm not going to get punished by taking this thing, but when I'm in my streamed rooms that get crazy, I'm feeling it out, and I don't need to take unnecessary risks through 3 rounds. It's like I don't have to do anything crazy. Like 2 picks of Jonathan Taylor ADP value is not worth potentially getting punched in the mouth because I start grabbing 2 of these values. And so to me, that's really what it comes down to, is I just build in more flexibility in a room I think is going to be super wide receiver crazy than if I were just mindlessly drafting late at night and not streaming it. I'm feeling more comfortable. Like I'll just take best available, because guess what? The 2v2s, I like the Leggett, the Polk range in the draft. I like getting McCaffrey and Devontae Walker late. I can build teams I like. It's just making sure it's not a specifically abnormal type of room.
Yeah, 100%. Like I agree. It's just about feeling it out. It's like it's a flexibility thing more than it being anything very weird. But we've named this draft for you. I know. Look, I don't name. I know that you named the team, the what you ate for breakfast that morning, and everything on the
that's a good roast.
The best ball teams. But this one's going to be with Pete Overzet. I appreciate you making the time to come on. We're going to record something in a second here, but tell people what you got going on, where they can find your stuff. I'm sure that they can, mark on their calendars the next best ball breakfast where you go 4 hours.
Yeah, the main 3 things pretty easy for live streams, including best ball breakfast. That's on my YouTube channel, Pete Overzet. Ron was on there. Was that 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Somewhere around then. Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks ago, if you want to go back in, I think I have a playlist for Best Ball Breakfast that you can go back. Then I do kind of pre-recorded videos, non-live streams over on the Deposit Kingdom channel. So been doing a mix of strategy videos, and then the video I'm actually going to record with Ron right now, which I'm going to ask Ron for his favorite structures, player targets, Galaxy Brain idea, and then we'll hop in a draft, and it'll be kind of cut up and condensed. So into all of the most interesting parts. And yeah, mixing in some other strategy videos as well. Last week, I did one on all of the players who are discounted in drafts because of generally injury. Obviously, I talked about the Rashi Rice situation and then kind of went through those, how to play them, because they're all pretty unique based on the injuries. And then I do a lot of writing over at Fantasy Life. I'll be ramping up and writing the newsletter each day of the week. That'll be starting soon. And we actually just got a big facelift over there, new website, new look to the newsletter, new premium offering that's going to include a lot of our new premium tools. So those are the big three: Deposit Kingdom, Pete Overzet, YouTube, and Fantasy Life.
Yep. So make sure you check out Pete there, as all of his good stuff. I've been loving like I said, the short form over at Deposit Kingdom you've been doing. But yeah, I appreciate the time, Pete. I appreciate everyone that came out here, watch the stream, like, subscribe. As always, if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, check out Underdog Fantasy, use promo code Ron, and I will see you guys in the next one.